I saw this problem on the internet the other day, and I thought it looked like a neat little math problem. And I've seen a few similar problems I thought looked pretty neat, and I finally had the idea that I could actually make a playlist out of these things. So I'm just going to call it a challenge problem. It was simplify this expression, 9 to the 16x squared. So I showed it to one of my friends, and me and him went about it in different ways. First, I'm going to go with my personal solution. If you want to, you can pause the video and try to solve it for yourself. Well, the way I thought of this was, since we have 9 to a certain power, then we have 9 times 9 times 9, and we have that over and over. So that same thing as 9 times, we just go on for a while, times 9. And since it's to the 16x squared, we have 16x squared copies. Well, since the 9's inside the square root, we can take a 9 out and make it a 3. And we can take another 9 out and make it a 3. And we can do that for every 9 in between until we have 3 times 3 times 3. And we just keep going until we have 16x squared copies of 3. But since we have a whole bunch of 3's multiplied together, that's the same thing as 3 to the 16x squared. So that is our final answer. And if you put that in Wolfram Alpha, it'll come up with that same answer, except it writes it a little bit differently. In my opinion, that's more simplified, but they're both acceptable, and it doesn't really matter which one you go with. So here's one of my friend's solutions to it. He had, well, start out with the same thing, 9 to the 16x squared. And since that whole thing was like taking the square root of, he just rewrote it as 9 to the 16x squared to the half power. And here's the part that I think may get some people. This half doesn't really apply to this 2 up here. We have 9 to a certain power, so and it's to this power. So what we do is we multiply this by half, because anytime where we have exponent outside an exponent, we just multiply them together. So this becomes, we'll say 9 to the half times 16x squared, which is 9 to the 8x squared. And that's, I believe, how he left it. You could alternatively have made that, instead of 9 to the 8x squared, you could have, let's see, what could we do to this? Oh, well, we could have first changed that to 3 squared to the 8x squared. There is a reason I'm doing this. And then we could have multiplied this 2 times the 8 and ended up with 3 to the 16x squared. So that shows that these two things are actually equal. So we'll say all correct solutions. If you've seen any other problems floating around on the internet that you'd like me to solve, let me know and I'll have a go at it.